For decades, Jay Leno has been synonymous with the world of late-night television, classic cars, and an unstoppable work ethic. His career, defined by motion, laughter, and action, reflects a man who never knew how to slow down. Jay's life story is one of constant hustle. Before he became the host of The Tonight Show, Jay spent years working as a stand-up comedian, performing wherever he could. He slept in his car, showered at gyms, and constantly chased the next gig. To him, work wasn't just a means of making a living, it was essential for his sense of security. As Jay often said, "I never had a job. I had gigs. If you don't work, you don't eat." This mindset of relentless motion shaped his identity, leading him to become one of the hardest working figures in entertainment. The foundation of his career: stand-up comedy and the road to success. Before his late-night fame, Jay Leno's career was built on the unpredictable and tough world of stand-up comedy. It was during this time that he learned to take rejection, work through the struggles, and keep moving forward. Jay wasn't just chasing success, he was chasing consistency. He would perform at multiple clubs in one night, driving hours between shows just to stay sharp. For Jay, comedy became a form of control. When everything else was uncertain, he could always count on the stage. This commitment to his craft not only shaped his work ethic but also his reputation as a performer who refused to let setbacks keep him down. His early struggles paved the way for his later success, including landing The Tonight Show in 1992. From stand-up to The Tonight Show, Jay Leno becomes a household name. Jay's big break came in 1992 when he succeeded Johnny Carson as the host of The Tonight Show. The show became a platform for his unique brand of humor, one that balanced sharp wit with relatable, everyman charm. Despite his immense success, Jay never stopped working. He arrived at the studio early, stayed late, and approached the job with a disciplined, almost military work ethic. His commitment was not just to the job, but to the audience. He wasn't just hosting a talk show, he was providing consistency in a world that often felt chaotic. For Jay, this was what made the job fulfilling. He didn't take his role for granted. He treated it like a responsibility, not a privilege. His dedication made him one of the longest-serving late-night hosts in television history. A fiery accident: Jay Leno's brush with death. In November 2022, Jay Leno's life was nearly cut short when a garage accident left him with severe burns. He was working on a 1907 white steam car when gasoline sprayed onto his face and hands, igniting a fire when a nearby pilot light sparked. Despite the terrifying ordeal, Jay's response was characteristically unflappable. He immediately downplayed the incident, reassuring the public that he was fine, but the reality was much more serious. Jay suffered second- and third-degree burns on his face, hands, and chest, requiring multiple surgeries and skin grafts. For most people, this would have been a turning point, a time to step back and prioritize recovery. But for Jay, it was merely another hurdle to overcome. Within days, he was back on stage, making jokes about his injuries, proving that the fire couldn't stop him, not physically, at least. Comedic resilience: returning to the stage. After the fire. Despite the severity of his burns, Jay Leno refused to slow down. Just days after being released from the burn center, he was back on stage, performing in front of an audience. His return wasn't about bravado, it was about maintaining the structure that had always grounded his life: work. For Jay, returning to the stage wasn't just a way to joke about his experience, it was a way to regain control over his life. He didn't want to let his injury dictate the pace of his career or his day-to-day existence. Comedy had always been his anchor, and even in the face of severe physical pain, he turned to it for stability. His ability to laugh at himself, even in the worst moments, became a source of strength for both him and his audience. A second accident: the motorcycle crash. that almost ended his run. Just 2 months after the garage fire, Jay Leno found himself in another serious accident, this time involving a vintage motorcycle. Jay had been testing a 1940 Indian motorcycle when the bike's faulty brakes caused him to crash into a low wire. The accident left him with broken ribs, a fractured collarbone, and cracked kneecaps. Again, his first response was to make light of the situation. He cracked jokes about the incident, but behind the humor, there was a growing realization that his body was no longer able to absorb the consequences of his high-energy lifestyle the way it once could. The motorcycle accident was a second warning that even the most disciplined work ethic could not defy the laws of aging and physical limits. The injuries were more serious than any Jay had faced before, forcing him to confront the reality that he couldn't push through everything. The hardest pause. Jay Leno faces the limits of his body. Jay's second accident marked a significant shift. For the first time, he was forced to slow down, and not just physically. His entire approach to life was being challenged. With broken bones and damaged knees, Jay couldn't continue his relentless pace. Doctors urged him to rest and recover, but Jay, who had spent his life working through pain, struggled with this new reality. For him, stopping wasn't just about healing, it was about losing control. He was used to managing his life with a strict schedule, but now he had to adapt to the reality that his body no longer cooperated the way it used to. The hardest part wasn't the pain, it was the stillness. Jay had built his life around movement, but now, stillness had become his greatest challenge. A new role. Jay Leno becomes a caregiver. In January 2024, Jay's life took another unexpected turn when he filed for conservatorship over his wife, Mavis Leno, who had been diagnosed with dementia. The decision wasn't born out of a desire for control, but out of love and responsibility. Jay, who had spent his life in the spotlight, was now focusing on the most important role he had ever played: caregiver. For a man who had built his identity around movement, work, and public success, this was a shift unlike any other. Mavis's condition had gradually dismantled the routines they had built over their many years together. For Jay, this was not just a role. This was a responsibility he took on with the same commitment he had applied to his career. He became deeply involved in her daily care, ensuring that her world remained as stable and familiar as possible. The quiet shift. A new chapter, focused on presence, not applause. The shift in Jay Leno's life wasn't about stepping away from work. It was about realigning his priorities. He still performed, but his career became more intentional. Instead of chasing every opportunity, he began to turn down work, focusing on what mattered most: being there for Mavis. Jay's life, which had once been measured in miles traveled and stages conquered, was now measured in routines, medical appointments, and moments spent together. There were no headlines for this shift, no applause or recognition. It was simply Jay choosing to be present, to show up for the person he loved, in the way that mattered most. His decision was not about giving up, it was about choosing what truly mattered. A legacy defined by love, commitment, and presence. Jay Leno's legacy will always include his groundbreaking work on The Tonight Show and his contributions to the world of comedy. But as he enters this new chapter of his life, it is clear that his most important role is not as a comedian or television host, it is as a caregiver. Jay has spent his life making people laugh, but now he is choosing to show up for one person every day, quietly, without fanfare. This shift in his life reflects a profound understanding of what truly matters: love, commitment, and the ability to be present when it counts. For someone who has built an empire on motion and momentum, this new chapter is a reminder that sometimes the greatest success comes not from applause, but from simply being there for those you love.